In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the exact same creative research process that scales ecom brands to $80, $90, $100,000 per day in sales. And just so you know, this is real and I'm qualified to speak about the topic. This is the client, as you can see, $88,335 in one single day, May 23rd. Let me just refresh so you know this is real. Now that we got the proof out of the way, let's get right into the video and discuss these research strategies. The reason I'm really excited to record this video is because, as I wrote over here, this is how the 0.01% of brands approach research to gain leverage over their competition, okay? And know everything there is to know about their customer. So I love this topic because this is actually what makes or breaks a business in the long term. All the brands that you see that scale to like 10K a day, whatever, they're brands that die. They don't have innovation. They don't have a clearer strategy to really scale this. So before we dive deeper into the topic, I do want to address one simple principle that is really, really important. Prior to putting, as I say over here, prior to putting all of your resources into generating creatives, as I just said, the number one step is to first understand everything there is to know about your ideal customer, how they think, what do they want, what are they complaining about, what motivates them to buy, what triggers them, their buying triggers, right? What are they skeptical about, and what do they dislike and like about the product, right? So this comes along just to give you more kind of like some other processes here: positives, tonality, triggers, pain points, motivations, frustrations, negative, skepticism. All of these things we need to know. Okay, we need to know them, because what we do, and this is an internal process that we have for the agency whenever we work and serve our clients. Okay, we put all this information into a document that then is distributed across our creative team, okay? Our creative strategist, our editors, our copywriters, my head of performance, my CMO, my graphic, everybody that makes the creative process has access to this information. Who does the research? It's mostly going to be the CMO or the head of performance and the creative strategist and the copywriters. Essentially, all the people that give out creative tasks to the team. Meaning that if the creative strategist is giving out the tasks, he's most likely going to start the research process and then have other people involved, like the copywriter or the head of performance. And so he is the one giving out the tasks, the creative tasks, to the editors and to the graphic designers. And then, of course, they follow along and because they have a blueprint to follow. So all of this research, everything about the customer goes into these documents. And what tends to happen as you focus, and by the way, stick until the end, or at least the middle of the video, because I'm going to go through some exact research processes and documents and frameworks. This is just a general overview. So, stick until the next part of the video at least. What this happens to do is what ends up happening, is that once you have all this research done, efficiency increases, profitability increases, just because you have more ads that are being done with intent, keeping in mind the customer and what they want or dislike and what they want to hear. Production time goes down because the editors and the creative team know exactly what they need to reproduce. So there's no need to brainstorm everything. All the research is already done. And then the ad hit rate typically increases. And this is where things the universal goal is to increase ad hit rate. What is the ad hit rate? The ad hit rate is basically the percentage of ads that actually are able to scale and are considered winners. So a 3% ad hit rate, as this example, which is not really scalable, is a percentage where 3 out of 100 ads that you test on the ad account can actually scale. A great ad hit rate that we typically average is around 12 to 13%. So out of 100 ads, 12 ads are actually either medium winners or big winners that are really, really can scale. And so this is the scalable approach. And so why is this research so important? As I said, so research gives you pretty much the opportunity to purely understand your customer, which automatically forces you to launch better ads, more scalable and profitable ads, ultimately increasing hit rate. Now, why is hit rate so important? It's pretty much self-explanatory. The higher the ad hit rate and the less creatives it takes you to find a real scalable winning ad. The more winning ads you find, the more profitable revenue you generate. So this is self-explanatory, and brings me to the main topic of this video. So how 8-figure brands find an edge, I would say to call it, build leverage, and create profitable ads and scalable ads, okay? And I divided this process into two. I'm going to discuss this framework. It's basically the skeleton of this next these four main components and strategies that we leverage to make up this creative research documents. Okay. So number one, I'm going to talk about the step-by-step creative research blueprint to gain leverage from A to Z. It's a skeleton. Then I'm going to talk about the 4 main creative research strategies, basically to produce winning ads. Okay. Let me start with number one, and then make sure to stick until the end, because as I explain the skeleton, the next thing will make more, this skeleton will make more sense once you see the next things that I'm going to discuss in the video. So, step-by-step creative research blueprint to gain leverage. How do you gain leverage? You gain leverage by understanding your customer. This should be your number one top priority. If you're doing $700K a month, $1 million a month, whatever your number is, trust me, there's always that extra thing, the extra strategy, that extra research that you can leverage to even learn more about your customer. Okay, number one priority is your customer. Then comes deep research. Once you understand the avatar customer, let's just say it's a Sally that has flappy arms and is 52 and lives in Brooklyn, New York, and is married and has a puppy, and these are the main pain points, blah, 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 blah. How do you get all this information? You get it by doing deep customer research on TikTok, on Amazon, on Reddit. I am going to show you a direct example of, actually a perfect example of a Sally that it has flappy arms and has like a specific issue, and I'll show you where I found it on Reddit. Just stick until the end to keep track of that, as I'm going to show you in just the next 5 minutes. Next thing is, like, once we do the research, as I showed you before, we're going to be able to basically huddle and put in all into one place all these negatives, the positives, the buying triggers, the skepticism, as I said before. Once we have all this information, this is really, really important. You need to be able to divide the research into several different pillars. Let me start with pillar number one, which is language discovery. How does your idea, you should answer these questions into your research documents for your creative team so they know exactly how to write scripts and address copy and address offers, etc., etc. Language discovery. How does your ideal avatar customer talk? How do they talk? What tonality do they use? Do they use abbreviations? Are they professional? Are they sophisticated buyers? Understand that. Number two, situational context. What is happening in their life right now? Let's just say the Sally that is 52. What is happening to the Sally that is 52? Is she right now contextually, right, in the situation? Is she depressed? Is she feeling tired because of XYZ problems? Is it maybe because she has kids and a stressful job? We need to understand the context, because once we do, we can address copy and address those pain points. Identity aspiration. Another very important question that you need to answer is, who do they want to become? Are they looking to become like, I don't know, an influencer, right? If so, maybe you add that as the hook, right? As a celebrity. Do they want to become thinner? Do they want to become, stronger? Whatever that is, we need to understand it. And I know this is the boring, and typically when I see my YouTube analytics, I see that when I talk about these things, people drop off. But if you're still on, kudos to you, because this is what makes a brand scale to like $80,000 a day. It's understanding your customer. And then don't worry, I'm going to bring you through some other real life examples of how we do the research. Next thing is emotional motivation. How do they want to feel? How do they emotionally want to feel? Happier, healthier, right? Do they want their kids, do they want to like be able to play with their kids again and them to be proud of their mother, right? Emotions, right? And then last but not least, which is one of my favorites, is service needs. What do they say they want? Because if we understand what they say and what they want based on what they say, we can address copy and manipulate kind of like copywriting to make sure that we catch their attention, because we know exactly what they want to say, or what they need and what they say, which is different, right? What you need is what you need, and what you say that you need is different. So anyways, once we have all this, then and only then we can start crafting pain points, desires, angles, offers, products, bundles. Everybody starts from here, and you shouldn't. You should start from the top. Number one thing, priority, is the customer. You do the research, you understand their aspirations, their language aspirations, emotional motivation, surface needs, and then you start crafting offers and products. Now, as I say over here, now that you know your customer, understand their needs, now that you know what they think, know they want, all that stuff, now and only now you can create a customized video ad for them to convert from, okay? And this is what it looks like, creating relatable ads personalized to one specific avatar customer. So this is what it looks like. Note that we're going after one specific avatar customer. We're not doing like addressing three in one video, because then it decreases the level of resonation, meaning that if in the video ad you address avatar 1, 2, 3, and 5, then people don't feel like the video is not just about them. And so if you can make it like the video feels that it's just for the Sally that is 52 that is trying to lose weight, then there's a much higher level of resonation, higher CTR, lower CPMs, everything is cheaper and more scalable. So avatar 1, and if you're concerned, by the way, is, hey, but what if there's more avatars that I can target? Isn't it better that I just do everything in one ad? No, just do more personalized ads and scale horizontally. That's what I would say. So once we know everything about avatar number 1, the 52-year-old Sally that lives in New York, that wants to lose fat, whatever, then we can start segmenting with the desires that we study, with the pain points that we study, the motivations that we study, the skepticism, because we know that Sally's skeptical, right? We know how to address the skepticism, the buying triggers. Once that we know all these things, we can basically address and create a personalized ad that, comes up with an ad segment, which is the hook, the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing, which is basically making up a personalized ad based on what we know, based on what we know, which makes up the Sally that is 52 that wants to lose weight, okay? So hopefully this makes sense. Once we have the structure, the video editing team, my creative team, right, this thing that I showed you over here, all these people, they know exactly what they need to address. They know exactly what scripts, what specific elements within the scripts and the videos they need to address. They know exactly also the required B-roll shots, right? all the required B-roll shots that are needed to make sure that we trigger people to buy or click or stick until the end of the video ad. So this is so fundamentally important. Now let's talk about the 4 main creative research strategies to make this entire process up and make it a successful one, right? Number 1, customer mining. I can't stress this enough how important this is. Let me show you what I found on Reddit, just so you understand how to create a persona and how to really find the pain points of this specific persona. Let me just show you briefly. In this case, I went on here and I typed in like flappy arms or like women problems in their 50s or in their 30s, whatever that is. And so I read this, and this is basically the way that you can really start creating personas and solving problems and addressing these things onto your video ads, right? I've always had flappy arms, and no matter how much how much weight I lose, my arms are still big. And so she has like screenshots, right? This is literally a hook to an ad. Like you can literally use this information to write hooks and write better ads. And so this is like the before, right? She doesn't have an after because she's still dealing with the problems. And so this is like 12 days ago, like super recent, by the way, okay? One reason, before I go on, one reason I like Reddit is because it's anonymous. So everything is anonymous. And whenever it's anonymous, people just really say everything that there is to say about what they feel like and think and believe, right? And so as I write over here, as she wrote, I also have broad shoulders, so naturally I look bulky. My physique goal is to have the sexy Dora, right? Milage, whatever that is, peanut arms. So this is also kind of like a metaphor that you can use, right? Depending on, then you can still like see if people resonate with that or not. You can just read the entire comments, but you can really see that this is an aspiration. I'm trying to look like cool. Going back to the document over here, what are we trying to look like? Identity aspiration. Who do they want to become? Like when I say these things, I know that they're boring, but they make a lot of sense, right? So make sure that you leverage these things. So go in here and read everything there is to know about your customer. She wants to look like her. So you go into the research document and you write this down, right? Okay, maybe not too toned, but I want to have a little bit of muscle definition. I also want to prevent my arms from sagging, whatever that is. P.S. Any local female fitness content creator I should check out? Many thanks. Okay, so one thing that we've learned from this single post is that people are probably resonating by looking at other fitness coaches. And so this could maybe be a great idea to do your ads with a fitness influencer, or using the whitelisting perspective of working with a fitness influencers and having her do the ads and using her socials as social proof and authority for the ad itself to sell your product, right? This is a perfect example. Who do they aspire? Who do they look? Who do they want to become? How do they feel emotionally? And basically everything there is. And one thing that is important here that you can also kind of like characterize as a hook is, in this case, I've always had flappy arms, and no matter how much weight I lose, my arms still are big. And so one persona could be, are you skinny and don't want to lose more weight? And losing more weight doesn't take away the flappy arms. That is I worded this in like 5 seconds. I need to think about it, but you get the point. You're trying to find, based on their comments and based on what they say, pain points and hooks and things that you can adjust on the ads. And then of course you can read all these other comments, and as you read on, you go in this rabbit hole and it becomes really, really, really interesting. Okay, so this is just a tangent. This is one thing, activity that I really advise you to do. Customer mining. Once we have all this information, we can also just read the reviews, and with AI, you basically scrape all of your reviews. This is also another document. Let me show you very briefly. Where is it? Boom, 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 boom. There it is. So you basically click on this. What we do is that we basically put all these reviews in here, and we have them, we have like with AI and just with graphs, we say, okay, 24% are negative reviews, 15% are neutral, 60% are positive. What do they say? What are the product benefits they talk about? The angles, the desires, the pain points, the motives, the beliefs. We basically put everything here. These are all the reviews, right? And then we just have AI do its work, and also we use tools like, just Excel sheets, literally. One other tool that we like to use is basically this ChatGPT for Amazon with Shulex Copilot, where you basically go on Amazon, and maybe it's your product if you are on Amazon, or maybe your best direct competitor, and then you click on the extension. I don't have it installed, my team does, and it analyzes all the reviews, and then with AI you can create kind of like these reports that look something like this: positive features, benefits, areas for improvement of the product, buying motivations and expectations. This is all from customer reviews. Okay, what's good, what needs to be improved, buying purchase motivations. If we know their purchase motivations, and we know that 71% talk about skin improvement motivation, then that's probably going to be the best hook out of all the rest, right? Or the most scalable hook, right? Desired, who, when, where, all the 5 whys, usage, and then all based by percentage. I've talked about this many, many times, probably like 20. I've done this in my 20 videos, so it's not something new, but this is definitely one of my favorites because it really gives you a lot of context about research and finding the gems. Next thing is direct competitor research. We like to use a tool called Ultra, and I'll show you how it works in just a second. But long story short, we go in here and find our best direct competitor just to keep track of what's working for them so that we can come up with inspiration. We track all their winning scripts, we can transcribe them, their winning landing pages, their winning offers, their winning ads, the persona analysis. I'm going to show you what tool we use, which works very, very well. Their winning angles, the types of distribution of like how many videos and images they run. In this case, Dr. Squatch is the brand, right? They're running 67% images and 30% videos. Interesting. Or maybe this is another brand, sorry. Yeah, it's Ruggable, sorry. Ruggable. And then we can take a look at their offers, their landing pages. And then once we have all this information, we can actually go and record our next tests and we can create a creative plan. What I say over here, right? A creative planning is the goal here is to plan the next 3 to 6 months worth of ideas, angles, and creative concepts, hooks, anything ad creative related. If you plan ahead, the future months will be just focused on implementation instead of going back to the drawing board. So one other reason why we do all this competitor research is because we basically have a plan for the next 6 months, which looks something like this. We know the messagings that we want to test, the creative concepts that we want to test based on what we saw worked for the competitor, and the types of hooks that we want to test. Keep in mind, we're not copy and pasting, we're understanding frameworks and we're trying to innovate on them so that we can make them better and leverage them. Let me show you the tool that we use. It's called Atria. In this case, Wellnestic is the brand that we're trying to funnel hack. And so we would go in here, we would follow the brand, and then we can basically filter by longest running ads. We can filter by active ads. They have like 500 active ads, I think, or whatever, 213. And so, good amount, decent amount. And then we basically go into landing pages, personas, right? I'm not going to go over this. I just showed you, but we can literally funnel hack this entire process. In this case, we can click on the ads and see, okay, they're running an advertorial in German. So they're doing German targeting. This is the product. This is the offer. This is the creative. We can also take a look at the type of videos that are connected to that specific landing page. You see filter by landing page, and then out of them, let's see how many active ads they're running. They're running 6 ads to that specific landing page, and these are the ads. And then we can basically understand their full-fledged funnel from ad, creative process, ideation, angle, persona that we're targeting, avatar persona that we're targeting, into the landing pages, their offers, and the listicles that they're running on the back end, why they work, and all that stuff. Then you have to be good at leveraging this information to just take advantage of it and do your best at it. Next thing is winning ad breakdown. This is a great way to really build a creative process, a research process where you can just hand it off to the team and they know exactly what makes or breaks a winning ad. So what we do is that once we go over here and we try to analyze, okay, this ad was a winner. It's been running for a while. Let me just take this filter off. Let me just choose a random ad for the sake of the example. Let's just say that, actually, let me just filter by longest running ads to see one of the longest running ads. In this case, this ad has been running since February, right? In this case, once again, it is like in another language, so maybe it's not the best example, but we click on it, we look at the video, we study the framework, we download it. We also go in tools like ChatGPT and we basically transcribe the video, copy and paste the transcript into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give us kind of like the ad framework, which looks something like this. This is the ad segment. I meant to say ad segment, not really ad framework. This is like the ad segment, okay? There's the hook first, then there's a pain point, relatability factor. Then the next segment is introduction of the solution plus partner validation. In this case, they're selling like a scent. So like the partner validation is like the girlfriend like smelling with a smile. Right, you get the point. Then ingredient credibility, and then there's the proof section, and then there's CTA, right? This is an ad segment, and this can be done by transcribing the script, put it into ChatGPT, and it's gonna give you the segment. Then all these other things need to be done manually, right? So this is like the required B-roll shots of the best winning ad. Why is this important, by the way? It's important because what happens is that the winning ads that are winners in the first place because there's a high level of resonation. It resonates with the ideal customer, or else they wouldn't be winning ads and they wouldn't scale or be able to bring in profit. And so we want to dissect them by the second, by the frames, and understand what happens between second 3 and 5, what happens between second 11 to 17 in this specific ad segment. We want to know everything there is to know about this process. We also, let me just show you the research document. I always go through this document because it's super valuable. But we do this for all of our clients. This is like a 38-page document going over the top 10 best winning ads of our own winning ads and of our best direct competitors. This is also important because whenever ads fail, right, which is the majority of your ads, you have a direct comparison to compare with the winning ad. So you're like, okay, in the winning ad, the hook that worked was hook number 1. In our failed ad, hook number 2 was the one we used. And maybe that is an A/B test and iteration that we can move forward on into a next test. So every single test moving forward is basically based on the winning ad with a specific iteration in place. It's not random. We don't want to do random tests. right? That's how 7-figure brands operate. 8-figure brands have everything recorded and scientifically proven, right, to make that iteration. So that's why we create this document. In this case, the winning ad is like a podcast style ad. We do the ad framework. This is all ChatGPT. Buying triggers. What are the buying triggers of the ad? Also done by ChatGPT. And this is the only one done manually, where we basically do what I just showed you. It's like the vertical version of this one over here. I've already explained this in my other videos, but hopefully you get the point. We create this, and your team will love you because you're giving them the blueprint of what a winning ad looks like. Next thing is the product market awareness research. I'm gonna go through this very briefly, but you need to know everything there is about your customer already. This is like a template that you can use. The 5 W's, right? What are their fears, their desires, right? Additional research is like this is more about the product. Like now that you know about your avatar customer, what do we need to know about the product? How can we take advantage of like the features of the product in correlation to what we know about the customer? Like all these things, you can read it through and stop it. And then we also study the different levels of awareness and how we can approach product aware markets, most aware audiences, solution aware audiences, problem aware audiences, and then completely unaware audiences. This is like whatever the Schwartz 5 levels of awareness. I don't need to go through this. This is not a marketing class, but we basically dive deeper and try to understand everything there is about the market, everything there is about the product, and everything there is about the actual customer. Okay, that is it for this video. I hope hopefully you got some value from it. Let me know if you have any questions, but if there's one key takeaway, is that you need to do a lot of research, and the customer over here should be your number one top priority to be able to understand what the heck is in their mind. If we can understand the customer as if they're our brother and sister, and we know everything about them, it's gonna be way easier to craft winning ads. Some people ask me, this is such a big thing before we end the video. Do image ads work? Do advertorials work? Do landing pages work? Does this offer work? The answer is it's like as if you're asking me, does e-commerce work? It's like everything should be tested based on the top priority, which is your customer. If your customer is 50, chances are they're not going to resonate with an ad that is super fast paced. They're maybe going to resonate more with an ad that is coming from a high authority that is ranting for 5 minutes. So maybe a slow paced raw UGC ad, right? Maybe that is the best winner for you. At the end of the day, you need to test. Same thing with a listicle. Maybe if you're selling a dress, a listicle is not the best sales process to do it because you're selling a dress or you're selling like art, whatever. You get the point. Everything works, everything can work as long as you keep the number one priority in mind, which is your customer. Once again, I know that I'm ranting a lot, but this is so important. And I know that I'm going to get maybe some hate comments. Oh, show me how to do it. Show me how to do it. Like, this is really like how we do it. There's no like special secret. It's literally doing deep research and going on Reddit and studying and knowing everything there is to know about your customer. Hopefully you got some value from this video or some inspiration. If you can just get even just one small nugget, even if you're doing, at the end of the day, like, we work with 8-figure brands. We have brands sometimes that come to us, they're doing 8, 9, 10 million a year, and they just, some of these nuggets, they're not actually implementing. They know that they have to do it, but they don't actually do it. And so hopefully that's you and you got some inspiration. If you are a brand, by the way, that is doing at least $100,000 a month and you want a free audit and you want to explore the opportunity of working with us within our agency, then just book a call. We're going to have a call. We're going to audit the business. And then if we find opportunities where we can come in and make a difference and actual impact, and if there's good synergy, and if we also have a capacity to work with you, then we can do that and we can explore that opportunity. That is it for this video. See you in the call and definitely see you in the next video. Bye.